Now, I was recently sent this package. This is called the Ragnok, and it is a mouse like I've never seen before. It is attempting to be a FPS style mouse with a trigger. And my first impression is this looks terrible. Like there's no way this is gonna work, right? There's a metal side scroll wheel, an actual trigger. It even has a textured grip like a, pew pew. It uses a 2.4 gigahertz USB dongle, and it uses a 3335 sensor, which if it's implemented well, it could actually work. However, my feeling is the bottom of this is just not gonna grip well, and I thought it was gonna be too heavy, but for how big it looks, it says it's only 110 grams. That's like the same weight as like some of G502s. So I guess we'll check it out. I am very interested, to say the least. Although I'm pretty sure this is gonna suck, but I'll give it a chance. And here it is. Ooh, it's smaller than I thought it was. Pulling it out, yeah, for how big it is, this feels very light. It's got a glossy back to it there. The trigger kind of feels like those old arcades. I don't know if you can hear this, but it feels like those old arcade games when you're literally in there like. But this other button right here is supposed to be the aim, so you should be able to just go. That's very natural feeling, I will say. That feels good, and it's pretty light still. Also, it's bottom heavy, which is a good thing. There's a scroller on this side, which actually feels really good. And then there's a very clicky button right there, so that is actually cool. It's metal, and the click on the scroll feels really good. You also have a DPI button on the top. So far, I don't love the glossiness on the back. The grip is kind of weird because it's sticky, but then this, I think, well, that's the dongle, but I think this fits in this. I think that's how it's supposed to go, but it literally just uses friction, which does not seem like a great way to do it. I don't know, maybe I'm wrong, but check this out. This also comes in the box, and it's like a anodized aluminum trigger. It's super cool, and it's like skeletalized too. Can you just pull? Yeah, you can literally just pull those out. That's the button, just pull it out. Of course we want the aluminum one, that is awesome. Oh my God. I don't know if you can see in there, but that's literally like a switch, like a keyboard switch, not like a mouse switch. That's why it felt so interesting. I wonder if I can hot swap those out or resolder those. That's crazy. They're using Kale blue switches, and honestly, I'm not mad at the blue switch for something like this. And there we go with the metal trigger, which I will say, the metal, honestly, it's too heavy and there's too much stem wobble. There's way too much stem wobble. This thing could be so much better if they just use a different switch. I'm gonna put the plastic one back on there. Unfortunately, there's just way too much stem wobble. Yeah, it feels better with the plastic. All right, but that's enough talking. Let's go try this out. Okay, so here we are, we've got it. And I didn't read any of the instructions or anything, but there's literally no other way to attach this. There's one skate here, and then this piece has 3 skates on it. I don't know if you can see that, but there's 3 skates there. And then I think it literally just like, it's just held on there with friction, which seems really, really weird. I don't know though, we'll see. All right, so it's on. We're gonna change the DPI. It is working. And there's a ton of like rubbing. I don't know why they chose to not have that be like fixed to it. That's a weird choice. It is very natural to like click though. That is really cool. And the scroll wheel with the thumb is actually pretty good. All right, but let's jump in game and see how this thing does. All right guys, jumping right in game. It's definitely not a very smooth experience. The DPI definitely needs to be turned down a little bit. It's at the max lowest right now, but it's super, super weird. I'm actually fairly inaccurate. I'm pretty dang inaccurate with this when compared to a normal mouse. It does drag a lot, and I think that's actually because the edges of these skates are not rounded, so it's like rubbing the whole time. So that is a little hard, but it is really a lot more fun to actually like shoot. Got a kill there. He was already low on health. I will say that side scroll wheel is actually pretty good. I don't know if I could snipe on this. I would say this is definitely more designed for faster paced, closer range stuff would probably be more the move here. And overall, it's not super polished. Like this definitely feels like a beta product rather than a final product, but the idea is better than I thought it was gonna be. It's more fun than it's probably actually like legitimately better, because I don't think as of right now it is better, but is a hell of a lot more comfortable. Aiming like that is so much better. Oh, but making fine adjustments is so much harder. Now, I will say I was impressed. It's only like 65 bucks, which is a lot for this, but for something as like beta-y as this, that's actually pretty impressive. I will say, I am so wildly inaccurate when compared to a normal mouse. I don't know if that's because it's so... Oh, killed someone with the rocket gun though. Still getting kills, yeah. But definitely something where closer range stuff is going to be more where this shines, and I think if my DPI was a lot lower, I would be quite a bit more accurate. Yeah, we still get kills. When you're definitely closer range, it is kind of fun. The aiming is definitely the most fun because you get to aim and then just, it is cool. But for something like this, you want lower travel, so having a keyboard switch, while it does feel more like mechanical, these blue switches are just not good. And I don't mean that like a keyboard enthusiast, like a clicky switch, because I think actually a clicky switch would be better for this kind of situation. It feels more tactile in terms of like a mouse sense, but these have so much stem wobble, and as you guys know, if you're into keyboards, the bigger your keycaps, like SA keycaps, or in this case, this size of keycap, the bigger that is, the more you're going to notice stem wobble, and this wobbles quite a bit. And for a mouse, not as good. Like a keyboard, it's a little bit more acceptable sometimes, but for a mouse like this, you don't want that. And sometimes it even gets caught, like coming back up. You kind of have to fully release it, let it go back to center for it to come up. So definitely a beta product, but I will say, I'm actually very much about this. Like if this became a polished product, maybe there is that, I don't even know. I don't even know if this is just like this is the first time I've ever seen something like this. So let me know in the comments below if there's other ones that are more polished that I should check out, because I think I will. If there are, it's definitely a very cool and fun, just fun way to play overall. It's definitely fun. Let's see if I can get this guy here. Yeah, almost didn't. But yeah, it's very satisfying to use a trigger like a normal trigger. I will say it is satisfying, but sniping on this, oh, I don't know if I could do it. It would be different if it was heavier. I will say for something like this, like the lightweight mouse trend, I'm about it. Like I love my lightweight mice. Going to something like, I have my MX Master here that I use for editing, is like impossible for me to play games with, obviously, as it should be. But this is pretty light, and honestly, I think it's too light. I would honestly prefer to have weights like they had on like the original G502s at the bottom here. And the reason is because even though this is 115 grams and by no means a lightweight mouse, for how big this is and the grip, like when you grip a mouse like this is pretty much my daily for gaming. It's the EC2CW, the BenQ. When you grip a mouse like that, like there's not a lot of grip. Like if I kind of like let one finger off, it's hard to grip it. But this is a handle. And so that changes your grip. I can easily grip this literally just with my thumb. So the leverage that you have on this is enormous. I would actually prefer to have this heavier. I think it would be more precise. And that's the only thing that this is really lacking. Precision, because the skates are just god awful. Like if these skates were ever on a normal mouse in this kind of design, no one would ever buy the mouse. They're that bad. But this is also definitely like not a normal mouse at all, so I understand. But genuinely, I could see a very polished product. Like if Razer came out with something like this, I could see this becoming actually pretty big. It's much better than I thought it was gonna be. Yeah, look at that. Still got a kill that far away, which is actually pretty impressive. So maybe I should try sniping. I do like that side scroll wheel. It's in a really, really easy area where you don't even need to take your grip off at all. That's actually a pretty big bonus, I will say. You can just easily flick, like look at that, flick it. I can still shoot while flicking. All right, we're gonna try some sniping. I do not think this is gonna go well. Oh God, that's hard. Especially when you're not lying down and you have to actually like counteract his jiggliness. Oh, maybe. Oh, he took it. No, actually you could do that, especially if my DPI was lower, but quick sniping, yeah, I don't know. Ooh, there we go. That was a quick one. We did that well. Maybe I just need to get used to it. It's the roughness though, it really does mess me up quite a bit. Now, there's no doubt compared to a normal mouse, this is going to be slower. Like, you're just gonna be slower because there's a longer travel. There's gonna be those milliseconds where, unless you're like kind of pre-loading it and then you fire, but that is a little tough on these switches specifically. Every time I lift off though, this piece down here like moves a little bit. As long as it's down, it doesn't really move, but that needs to be like clipped in somehow. Oh, there we go. That's a little bit of a quicker one. All right, come on, I can get some quick snipes in here. Come on. Okay, so overall, this exceeded my expectations. I was not expecting it to be this fun, but I really do like these two things right here. And if there was some way that they could make this front panel come off as like a quick like magnetic piece, and then you could literally switch out and hot swap out your switches, that would be very cool. And then if you round the edges of these, or honestly just getting aftermarket skates might work. Had a way to make this somehow fit in here really nice. Although I do think 90% of that, the weirdness with this would be fixed if the skates were just super smooth. And honestly, I might be able to just take these off and put some skates all on the bottom of here, like some aftermarket ones. The placement of everything is really good. The trigger feels great. I mean, besides the switches, it's nice that there's a DPI button right on top. This side scroll wheel is perfect location. Tactility feels good. Everything about it feels great. And then they have an additional button right here, which also feels really good. The USB-C is in the front. There's also this like vibration motor, which like when you click it, it literally just, if you hold it down, it does that. I don't know if you can hear that, but it is literally just like a phone buzzer that just buzzes. So that's probably gonna kill the battery life in like 2 seconds, and that's not good. But change this from gloss. This like grippy texture on the side isn't really that grippy. It just kind of looks like a pew pew grip. But if there was actually some grip tape, you could put some grip tape on the side of that. That would be cool. Not that you need it because, I mean, it's grippy. But if you want to check it out, there's Amazon links below for it. But just keep in mind, it's kind of like a beta-y test if you get it. But it definitely is fun and it works better than I expected, and I probably will use it again. But again, not for performance, it's just for fun. Hope you guys enjoyed this high-speed video. If you want to check out my main channel where I actually recommend the best of the best peripherals, well, you can subscribe below or just type in Consumer Tech Review. But this was Consumer Tech Review High Speed, and I'll see you guys in the next video.